Welcome to a new episode of Jaw Jacking with James. This is going to be a part one in a however many long series of Florida driving, and let's just get started right there. Looking at my small script I've made for this episode. Yeah, living in Florida is it's a whole different experience if you haven't lived here or were born here. But we're going to go into it, and maybe I can give you an idea if, you ever want to live here or visit here, and me advising you to reconsider and or prep yourself for the fun, as it will, when you start driving when you're in Florida. Now, I live in Florida, and I live in South Florida, and there seems to be a massive difficulty with people using turd signals. And you have to remember that turd signals are a very important aspect of when you're driving. It lets other people know what you're doing. That way they don't have to use mental gymnastics or telepathy to figure out what you're doing in your car. Now, we want to always remember that the turn indicators are to the left of your hand on the steering wheel, and they make a little noise every time you use them. It goes. When you do a quick change of lanes or do a quick turn into someplace, it makes a quick clicking noise like. And you have to remember that if you're not hearing that sound, you didn't use a turn signal. And that's going to play a lot of important parts in a few little, tidbit sample stories I'm going to bring up later on. And yeah, it's going to come into play. So let's go into it. I have a short story here of a personal experience I've had we're going to bring up the turnpike a lot in these traffic stories, because whenever I use the turnpike, 95, or any type of highway in Florida, there seems to be a problem with people just doing whatever they want on it. But this one particular time, I'm on the turnpike, just driving, and to set the scene, it's early, give or take, right after 6:45, maybe 7:15. In between that area where it's kind of really busy, but mostly in Florida, traffic starts to pick up around 6, and it's insanely busy up until, say, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and frankly, you're either stuck on a road or you're having to bob and weave in and out of traffic to get anywhere. But, everybody's trying to get it to work or school or class or, get somewhere in the morning. And that's the morning rush. Anyway, it's a typical, I want to say it was Tuesday, Wednesday. Sometimes work days kind of blend together, but traffic experiences kind of break out the mundane that you have when you're driving. And I go onto the turnpike, and I'm driving on the turnpike, and you merge into the lane. That's another aspect, but I'll do that on another episode about having to, how merging works, how keeping to speed works. Apparently a lot of people never, figured that out when they were driving. It's the craziest thing. And it's like a whole bunch of people just suddenly got themselves into a car like in a video game. It's like sometimes I think Florida is a large Grand Theft Auto lobby or, open world server, and we're all just living in it. I mean, it goes to show, because, there's tons of NPCs, as you will, always walking around on the street. And then they get in cars, and then they drive around. Craziest thing, you know? Anyway, I get on the turnpike. I'm driving, getting to work. For me, I can get to work from where I'm at to where my job's at, which is fairly far. However, if you get on the turnpike quick enough, like a little before 7, you can actually get to work pretty quickly, from my experience, from where I have to go and where I have to be. The only problem is, the only thing that really holds you up is other people driving. And, I usually have to bob and weave, quickly using my turd signal in order to get there. And the funny thing is that at one point when I'm about halfway to work, someone from another entryway, the on-ramp, sometimes I can't remember. I can't remember all the terms you have to use for cars and roads, but so they come to me. If they don't, I can always just edit it when it comes to me. Anyway, yeah, they're coming on the on ramp to merge with traffic. I think it was at sunrise, the sunrise on ramp. And this guy or girl, I don't know. They had black tinted windows, but they had their turd signal on, and they come on and they go in front of me, and I have other cars to the side of me in other lanes, so I can't turn over immediately, so I'm stuck behind them as they slowly go from 45, 50, and then stay at 50. And when you're on the turnpike, 50 is the bare minimum speed you could go. I mean, posted it says 45, but 50 is kind of your bare minimum speed you can go. But for me, I never do that. I usually go much faster than that. Usually in the 70 to 80 range bracket. But don't be concerned, because I actually know how to drive very well, so I don't have that kind of problem. But apparently this person did, and they made the 35 or so seconds I was stuck behind them the longest 35 seconds ever. So, yeah, I'm stuck behind them. More cars start getting stuck behind me. And in the other lane is, I guess, an unofficial convoy of dump trucks and 18-wheelers. And we're all just stuck here, prisoner, left by this person who can't seem to go over 50 miles an hour and still has their turd signal on, even though they're not speeding up to get in front of the trucks in order to change lanes. That is the only way it's possible. But they still continue, anyway, doing it. And finally, I kind of lose my mind over it. And I'm guessing one of the truckers saw how many people were suffering because of this person, and he proceeded to speed up. So think about that. A semi-truck, the front end of the truck, plus a trailer, going from, usually on average they go 55 to 60, has to force himself to speed up more, which is something you shouldn't do if you're a trucker. I mean, it's one of those things that are required by law. Don't quote me on that, but they usually have to stay at a certain speed because truckers are usually tracked when they're working. Anyway, he has to speed up, and I take the opportunity. I quickly swerve in between the two semi-trucks. There's just enough space. And the jack-off in front of me, he tries to go in that space as I'm going in it. So I honk at him, and I see a shadow of a person just put their hands up like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And really, dumbass? Really? Really we're going to do this? But, yeah, I'm able to get in there, and then I get into the next lane, and then I speed up, and then I have to swerve, turn back over in front of the truck, and then in front of, Captain Numbnuts. And he has the audacity to start tailgating me. And I could see like hand gestures and some, an angry silhouette of a person in the car behind me. And I just give him the middle finger with my rear view mirror. And they start honking at me, and I give them the finger again, and I speed off. And they follow me up until I get off the exit ramp. I know they're following me, so I don't actually go to work just yet. This is still early, so I can have some fun with them. I turn into a place, I park, then I pull out, and they get angry because they were trying to follow me. And I pull out, give them the finger again as I drive by, and I drive off. They try to catch me, but other people at the gas station I stopped at, there's always traffic in the morning at some gas stations, to get, gas and coffee and whatnot. So they get stuck there, and then I drive and finally make it to work. It's one of those darned things, darndest things. But, these things happened. It's not one, it's happened multiple times when I've been driving. I have another story for you. Let's see where this goes. Come along with me, won't you? I have I have more turnpike and 95 and traveling on highway stories. I'll get to those at some point. But, usually the most amazing and life-threatening things don't even happen on highways. They usually happen when I'm driving around normal roads, just trying to change lanes, going at intersections, going at three-point turns or two-way streets, one-way streets. You'd think that some people would learn that in a driving school, but apparently not. This could have been, the one story I'm thinking about from my reference script here I have. Yeah, this had to be, this is usually in the evening, and it was after I got off the turnpike from work. Usually if I get off and I need to do something after work, make sure to do that, then go home, because if I go home straight away, all of us have that thing where it's, the day is done, let's just go home. For me, I have to, do something after work. I do that, then go home, and then I'm not leaving the house till the next morning, or if it's the weekend, I'm not moving until it's all said and done. But, anyway, yeah, I'm changing lanes because, my one go-to to always get crap at is Walmart or Publix. And this day it was Walmart. Getting some stuff from Walmart. And, trying to change lanes to go into the intersection to get into the turn lane. And apparently this one car in front of me, I believe a woman was driving. Yeah, I remember the insult I gave her. And she had the audacity to honk at me and then block the turn lane. So I missed that turn because she didn't want me to move over and get into the turn lane. And, I mouthed, "You bitch," to her, and she sat there, even though, the turn lane had already been red, and the lane to go, straight was green, and she sat there, and now I'm honking at her, and now people are honking at her, and she's just sitting there. Finally, she starts to move, and then I drive forward, and as I'm going into the turn lane, I put down the window on my passenger side of my car, and she had her window open, and she's babbling on about something. I don't know. I didn't. She was already yelling at me, and I got some of what she said. She's saying that it's just like you're holding me up, sir. And I said, I don't give a shit. Fuck you, you stupid old bitch. And she just sat there all jaw dropped, and then people honked at her, and she drove off. And the odd part is that after I got into the turn lane, turned, drove down the road, and then turned into Walmart to park, wouldn't you know it, the old lady that I had called a, worthless old bitch before, she had followed me, parked near me, and tried to confront me about it. She's like, you should respect your elders, young man. And I told her, it's like, do you have nothing to do, old lady? Nothing at all? And she, was trying to start something with me. At this point, I had an 8-hour shift at work. Have to get up at 6 in the morning, leave work around 6, because I think I also left the gym too. And you're going to tell me how to live my life? Like, you're following another stranger around for your incapability of driving? Fuck you. I don't have to deal with that shit. But she got angry about it. And, you don't want to hear, when you're a fully grown adult, you should respect your elders. It's one of those, go to, like, hey, I'm being an idiot, but you should overlook that because I'm older than you. It's like, no. It's like, I've gotten to that age, and I thought about it, and even I think, yeah, that's stupid. And I'm going into my 30s, and I've seen kids do stupid shit, and they try to, it's like, oh, what do you think? And I'm like, I think you're fucking stupid, kid. You should probably think more. I'm like, well, fuck you, old man. I'm like, old? Old? Oh shit, I am getting old. Because I don't agree with the younger generations. Damn, I'm becoming my father. That's crazy. But yeah, that old lady just went off in all of a huff because the person that she thought would be like, oh no, I don't want to offend the old lady, I better apologize. No. There are a lot of things in life that don't require you to always follow what society does. And just because some, old Precambrian fossil tries to tell you what to do, doesn't mean you have to listen to them. They can piss off. And, yeah, that's that. Some fossil bitch tried to tell me how to live, and I told her to go fuck herself. It's those good moments, the simple things in life you gotta live for. Looking at my short script I made, I have another good old traffic story. Well, it didn't take place out in traffic, but this took place in a parking lot. And let's dive into that. Let's talk about that little thing right there. If you've ever been into a parking lot, the one thing I've always hated about parking lots is when they're not, 2-lane big enough. You can't go in and out of it. I always hate those. I always hate the parking lots that only have like one way. Not because I can only go one way in the parking lot, but because other people don't seem to understand at the entrance of one, it says, do not enter on it. And people enter it anyway, and they're coming at it, and then they have the audacity to honk at you for it. That happened to me at, I want to say it was this was at a Publix. However, It was a Publix I don't usually go to. It wasn't like a my Publix kind of place. It wasn't my Publix that I usually go to. It was a different Publix in a different part of the area, and it had a one-way parking lot where you can only go up one and park there, and then you have to turn all the way around to go down a different parking lot. I always hated it like that. I prefer the two-way parking lots, but I can understand if there's size constraints. But still, we're in a first world fucking country. We should always have two-way parkings. I don't give a shit. Make it so. Put it into law. Whatever. But yeah, no. Anyway, I'm trying to get a parking spot because it's, I believe, late afternoon on a Sunday, and lo and behold, who would have thought a department store, grocery store would be busy on a Sunday in the afternoon? That's on me not getting up earlier on a Sunday, but, it's Sunday, but, whatever. Yeah, I'm going down one way, having to stop for people, walking around and with their carts and whatnot. Then I go down the next one, then I go up down the next one, then I finally get a parking spot. Find one. As I'm going to it, someone drives at the opposite end that says do not enter. They drive into it and try to take the spot, even though the angle they could not pull in. They would crash into the other two cars that are parked there. And they still tried to force it, and then I believe the guy was, give or take, middle-aged. He had glasses, but, he had the typical middle-aged douchebag asshole who hasn't had a wit of intellect go through his head since, give or take, the 1970s or so. Anyway, he takes his, jalopy and tries to angle it in. Meanwhile, I'm honking at him, and other people that were, in the parking lot, either walking to their car, away from their car, just stunned at what he's doing. He's trying to get a car that's going against him, that are angled against him, to the right, to the right, and he's turning in and trying to go take a left into it. It would be It would be better to represent that if it was visual, but it's important to use your imagination when thinking about these things. But he tried to angle his car in, and I don't know what thoughts were going through his head, and he pulls out for a second, and then instead of waiting for him to, have a brain cell or two finally activate, I go into the spot, and I get out, and he pulls down his windows, and he has the audacity to say, "That was my spot, sir. You need to get out of it." And I reply to him, "Dude, you're going down the wrong way. Pull out of here and go around." Which he replies with, "No, that was my spot, sir. You need to get out of it. I'll call the police on you." Which I reply with, "No, you won't. Back up and park somewhere else." And I walk away. Meanwhile, he, in his infinite wisdom, he pulls the whole, it's like, "I'm old enough to be your father. You need to respect your elders." I make him sound kind of like Bert from Sesame Street. But, most nasally, douchey guys sound like either Bert or Ernie to me. Just remember, like, if you ever encounter someone who's giving you a hard time or trying to lay down the law on you, but you know they're fucking wrong. Just imagine them as a Muppet, like Bert or Ernie. And they become less serious, and you don't have to take them seriously. And, yeah, I did see the guy in the Publix, and he didn't want to confront me anymore after that. But yeah, that's one of those things that happens. Sometimes you just got to deal with Muppets in real life, and they don't realize they're Muppets. Though a lot of people are Muppets. That's why I'm able to enjoy life more. I treat people like they're Muppets. Most people that try to start confrontations or think they're smarter than you, think of them as a Muppet. And then they become less serious, and then you can not have to deal with them anymore after that. It's kind of hard to take some guy who cut you off and is yelling at you seriously when he looks like Bert. Like, where was my, you shouldn't have cut me off. See? Sounds more like Ernie, but you get the point. Bert and Ernie. It's interchangeable. But, let me think. Looking at... This is why it's important, so I don't ramble too much, to look at my shortened script here. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to close with some sage-like advice, because that's a thing I'm going to try to do with this podcast. Be funny, comedic, and satirical, and all that other good jazz. But try to have some good advice. Well, the Muppet thing was good advice, but, that's just food for thought or whatnot. Good advice, use fucking turn signals. It's not hard. I mean, if you're in your car, and I recommend, they say in the driving manuals, 10 and 2, keep your hands at the 10 and 2 o'clock position, like the steering wheel is the face of a clock, 10 and 2. That's stupid. Don't do that. That's pure crap, loads of crap. What you really want to do is keep it at 9 and 3 o'clock. That way you're holding the halfway points of your steering wheel, and then you can grip your thumb and put your entire hand around the steering wheel, and you can do tighter turns. That's why race car drivers drive the way they do. They keep it at 9 and 3, and look how much better they drive. But if you also notice that the lever for your turn signal is either a finger or a pinky away, and you can just lift your finger and tap either way you want to go, and click, click. It's that easy. It's that easy. So remember, turn signals are good. They let other people know what you're doing, and it'll probably improve your driving. But, whatever floats your fancy. But always remember that turn signals are one finger away of letting people know what you're doing. And I know it's a new and radical concept, but if you give it a shot, you'd be surprised at how much better your driving experience is when you don't randomly cut people off without using your turn signal. People will probably like you more. But, what do I know? I'm just some guy on the internet who's doing a podcast, who has years of driving experience in South Florida. But just keep it as a thought in the back of your head and be like, maybe I should use my turn signal. Just maybe. Maybe it might make things better. Anyway, this is brought to you by my fake sponsor, Turd Signals. They work. Try them sometime. Thank you. We'll try and make this a thing. This is only part 1 of driving stories. Don't worry, I have a lot more driving stories that I'll share. As soon as I remember them, write them down and share them with you on here. Please insert whatever podcasting site you are listening to on. Anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. I've got to think of a catchy sign off thing. So, signing off for now. This has been Jaw Jacking with James. I guess like, comment, and subscribe? I don't know. I'm still